looking at my rockers, and actually this nut was off and laying in the valve cover. All right, table is a mess, so you know I've been doing stuff. Dug into the bolts and everything, so got stuff to go to the other shop, digging into boxes. Oh, hey, there's a jack underneath. Ooh, what'd we do? Now, I didn't show putting the engine in, because some of y'all are probably like, how many times are you gonna put that stinking engine in there? Right? How many vehicles is he going to put the engine in before he even runs the thing and gets it driving? I don't know. Maybe 3 more. No clue. We'll see. Maybe this will stay in this time, and I actually get something functional and moving under its own power with this engine. Don't know. Just have to stick around and find out, right? There is one little issue I want to show. These valve covers. So it did get more room right there, right? Because it was hitting. This last little bolt, see if I get the light to, there it is, won't come out, but it is released so I can do the rest of them and then lift the valve cover and slide it forward to get it in and out. So that's workable, whereas before it was hitting the booster. So apparently these are for non-power booster vehicles. I wouldn't even want to think about how that's going to work in a car. Okay, got the valve cover off. I'm checking the valve train. I'm looking to see if anything hit. Looks like we're pretty generous in there. I'm not seeing any hitting. Nothing going on. But I did find something interesting underneath the valve cover. This is why we check this stuff. Looking at my rockers, and actually this nut was off and laying in the valve cover. I was wanting to get that off for a couple of reasons. One is I wanted to, check stuff out, reset the valves, but I think I'm going to be pulling all this off and checking everything very, very good. All it takes is one of those nuts backing off, right? Because that's what gives it its strength, right? Because you're locked in there, and I don't know, maybe it just backed off. Maybe I got lucky, but I'm going to check that out. That's for sure. And now I want to check this side over here and see what we got. Okay, got that off. Looking at it. Can't quite tell if I got focus, but it is a little boogered in there. We see there's a deep recess because it's a cup push rod that started beating up against that. But everything held in place. Let me show you something here, because this is my fault. I'm going to show you why. Walk over here. So if we look at these things, you see that is a pretty thin hex nut right there, right? Let's look at one up here. So you see how the wrench has to go in there, and it's 11/16. There's only a couple ways to get that on there because it's shrouded in. They didn't spot face all this out so I could go in and do it like that, right? So I'll have to use the open end part of that to lock these down. So that one was talking about was a 4th one in, of course, the other side, and you kind of see the problems of getting that locked in, right? It's right in the way. My fault for not making sure it was torqued down. All of these are good. I'll go through it, check, good and tight. No issues on any of those. I missed one, didn't quite get it tight enough. If you have these rockers, what pretty much everyone else has gone to is the 12-point, and it's a smaller head on there. So then you can come in from the bottom side of it and get them all torqued down. Because when you do that, you got to have your little hex wrench in there. Let me back up a little bit and explain what is going on with these, because I kind of just jumped right into that. Back over to the table here. Okay, so what we got is, this is an adjustable rocker arm, right? So the push rod goes right up into this area here. I have a cup push rod, and that's a stud. That's what that bugger looks like right there. It goes through the rocker, and you tighten that down until you reach the adjustment desired, right? And then you lock it in place. So to lock it in place, you gotta hold the center stud steady. Kind of hard to do one hand. Should have got my tripod. But you gotta hold the center stud steady while tightening it down. Because if you go to tighten that jam nut down, it's gonna turn that stud and tighten it even further, right? So that is where it becomes a problem with these, because you have to come in from the top side and there's stuff in the way. So yes, this rocker failure is my fault because I did not get that stud tightened down good enough, right? This little lock nut. Okay, well, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do on the rocker system. I got some stuff that I can be doing now. The intake manifold is good. I'm happy where I'm at with this, but I may not put this rocker system back on right now. So there's no point in me adjusting the valves, but I don't see anything damaging on the inside, so I'm going to go ahead and continue putting this together. Okay, so where are we at this time? Well, first off, I'm taking advantage of all this stuff being off and trying to get all my mountings and routings and all that stuff done before I have to get in there. One of which is the automatic transmission kickdown cable and the throttle cable, right? So I'm going to be going with this little mount here, and this is adjustable. Get down in there. I am missing that piece. I probably used it somewhere, threw it away, or lost it, whatever. So I wouldn't be using it anyway, because I'm going to use the little factory style bracket in there to clamp down my speedometer cable, right? And then this right here has that square slot in there so that this can sandwich in between there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this set up first and get it up in there and figure out where I'm going to hook it at. There's a little spot down there I'm thinking about, because it has to pull. If I set it above the rod there, it'll push, right? So probably this little bolt here, I'm going to see if that's where I can set it. So there's these little things that I need to figure out on here, and it's so much easier to do that because if I had everything on it, I'd have to crawl up into the truck or lean over the fender and do all that stuff to try to figure this out. So I want to get this nailed down pretty good right now. I do have the headers loosely on for my mock-up on there. Those are going to have to come off and get cleaned, and I want to clean prime those and everything before I get them on. But I can put headers on. They're pretty easy. They just go up underneath, bam, slide in, no big deal. Yes, that is going to, this is the not cow grill, this is the radiator support / fender support. So I'm going to be cleaning all of this up, getting it all cleaned off, cleaned up, and I'll probably just do that Reform Seal, Rust-Oleum Reform Seal. It's black, rubberized, you know, fairly tough. It'll get the job done that needs to be done right there. The outside, I can paint that whenever. So that's quite a few things there. Want to go to the other shop, but I'll take you down there and show you around a little bit too. I'm going to put the stock rockers back on for now. There's the rocker system. Just the stock rocker system right there. It's an old camshaft. I don't know what I got back there, but I'll be grabbing those. And I think that's what I need. A couple other little parts in here that I need. Alright, engine area. Just the Herald engine that was all busted right there. So I don't really trust that. That was a hard hit. jam that water pump prop all the way down in there. So here is some stuff I want to go with on the Ramcharger eventually is the Magnum setup. And that would be that engine there. That's the 302 I want to build that I got out of the junkyard. I want to build for Jim. That's Jim's original cam, the whole white cam thing where it's all sharp edges and worn slap out. So that's what we got going on here. There's that 351. There's that overly heavy 4-speed stuff. So lots of things. Actually, this engine here was a fresh. It come out of the Ramcharger. It was one I built for it, and then there was a transmission issue, so it got pulled out, and well, here we are now. So that's just a stock rebuild 30 over 318. It is a car engine. You can see for the roller bosses and everything in there. That's a roller cam. That's the one out of my 90 Dodge truck right there. So I got a lot of engine options. A lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of vehicles that need these engines. I think all these actually have a home. That one has a home. That's not a small block. But anyways, I just want to put this in here. I'm picking up some stuff. Rainy day. Kind of the, well, this is what it's called, storage shop. It's stored all my junk, right? Nothing really grand in here. But I do have this bay cleaned out. So I got that blue truck out of here, Harold. Torn apart. Yeah, right there. So this one is going to a new home. It's not even a builder. It's a parts car. It's no title, missing parts, rot in all the wrong places. All right. I mean, really have to want one, but I know someone who has pretty much the same car that has a title that doesn't have rot in all the wrong places. So they're going to come picking this up. But as soon as that dart is out of the way, I'm going to get one of my other projects in here for storage because they're all just sitting outside rotting. And then continue doing stuff in here. You see the organization I've been doing, getting all those done, getting these shelves out. I got these from someone who is a local college. He did the video, so these were made for VHS tapes. So they don't really fit stuff in there very well other than VHS tape. So that's why I took all that stuff out and just did the bins. And now I have quick access to stuff that I need. I can see generally what's in there. It's not super organized, but I can see what's in there now. So anyways, well, I'm going to get to doing. All right, adjustable rockers, factory rockers. I took the rockers off the Harold engine. That 360 is all busted up. And I know I've had these off before and cleaned them up. These work fine. I have all the hardware with them. So I'm going to go ahead and clean these up and reuse these as well. And I'll show some tips on getting these on there. Also, I'm pretty sure I replaced the push rods whenever I went through that engine. I just did the upper end, had the heads done on it, and cleaned up the rockers and just put it back stock. Sans the intake and, well, new push rods. So this is the Uncle Tony's garage trick here to check your push rods to see if they're all a good and same length. If these were factory push rods, yeah, you're not guaranteed they're all going to be the same length. So I just wanted to double check that. These are fitting up all good and square. There's not loose ones or anything going on there. It's kind of a two-hand thing, but you kind of see what we're doing there. So those look good. I do want to check the length on these. Check one, throw my push rod checker in there with a couple of these rockers, and then check what the length should be on there. Just because I have that tool, I want to play with it, but not that I'm going to change anything, but that'll give me a little bit of practice with that right there. So you see the difference here between the cup and the ball, right? And that's because of how these adjust like that. they don't have to be like that. You can get them to where that is a cup in like the factory rockers. Right there, right? So anyways, well, I got a lot of stuff to do. I really do. Let's go take a peek at what we got going on over here. Got the front clip on. That got an argument with that, but you know, that happens sometimes. I think I'm going to work on my throttle cable stuff right there. Valve cover's not sitting down square. I think I'm going to work on that. There. I'm trying to do a video and you're all sitting there crooked and everything. Come on now. Okay, to further expound upon the difference between the factory push rods, this is kind of doing a redo of what Uncle Tony's Garage did here. These are factory push rods. There's several of them that are bent. If we look right in here, we can see gaps in there. Of course, you can roll your push rod on anything semi. Let's get this good bent one. Yeah, it's just all kinds of wobbling. Don't know if the camera picked that up. But here's what I want to do. Look at that gap right there in between there as I'm trying to line them up. They want to line up. All right. So I want to see, doing this, I have a push rod on the bottom, then just kind of up against the edge so it won't go anywhere. So I'm push square against it. A little bit of slack. That's a lot. That's the tight one. Ooh, that one might be bent too. That one's, one of these is bow-legged. I think it's this one. So if it bends, it gets shorter, right? Well, I say that. Bent one right here. Maybe that one's not bent. It's this one that's bent. Yeah, look. I was about to throw those in because this is what I had laying around. Now, I'm not advocating that the factory put bent push rods in, but you see some of these that aren't bent that have a lot of slack in them. Now, let's come over here and look at. Ooh, well, don't mess it up. A little bit. So that one has a little bit in there, but one right there. For the most part, they're pretty tight. But that's a lot tighter than what we got over here. So I think I'm going to be using these push rods. Anyways, that's a fun little ending to this video. If you like what you see, then go ahead and click that playlist that popped up right there. And I'll see you next time on Broken Tool Garage.